Hey everybody, good afternoon. Make sure everything's working over here. Hey Charlie, good afternoon. Welcome, welcome. Got some gunk in here already. I'm gonna put this in my reclaim bucket over here. Forgot that I just dumped everything in here. Not the sponge. That is how sponges end up in the pug mill. Is I just dump out the everything in the in my bucket into the reclaim. Here we go. So welcome back. I am going to be doing some more throwing today. Yeah, get my tiles set up. What I'm doing today, I probably will end up doing some more mugs, but before that, I want to make some bottles. These are going to be bottles that I'm going to use for oils. Some of them are going to be oil bottles, and maybe some of them will be lotion pumps. But I know I need more oil bottles than lotion pumps right now, so. Hey, Belzy. Yes, bottles with a narrow neck. These are going to be, like I said, I'm going to do the oil bottles first. Let's see. Let me center it one more time. And the thing to remember about bottles is that, kind of like even when I'm making potion bottles, I've got to leave that extra little bit at the top so that I can, because you need a bit of extra clay to cover the shoulder so it doesn't all collapse. Because usually when we make something tall and thin, you make the top part especially thin, because it's not having to support any weight, but you can't do that on a bottle. You need need a little bit of extra clay there. Oh, Belzy, I'll have to look at it. I didn't see it yet. The bottles, ghost, and the pumpkin you made on Sunday. Nice. So this is kind of like the same height. Starts out as the same height as a mug, or of a similar height. And I'm going to give it just the barest little bit of shape here, because you don't need to, unless you want it to be like very round and bulbous, you don't need to stretch it out very much at all here, because it's going to, as you narrow the top part, it's going to look like it's much wider. As a matter of fact, I may just make this a little bit narrower and taller already. pull a little bit there at the top and then smooth this out some more. You say for yours it's not super good, but it's a start. It's hey, everybody, we gotta all start somewhere. I made a whole lot of ugly pots before I made pretty pots. Oh, there it is. I will trim this off a little bit. All right, and so this is the bottle that is going to be a oil bottle. And then one more thing I do for the oil bottles is because like I like the form like it is, but as an oil bottle, it's gonna get kind of like it's gonna get slick. It's gonna dribble a little bit maybe, or eventually get something on it. So I had some people request that for the oil bottles they have a grip on them. Like that. And so I want to make sure the top part didn't get messed up. And so they're going to have little indentations on them to have something to hold on to. Hey Tech, hey Bob. Good afternoon and welcome. And so we have our first oil bottle. And I'm trying very, very hard to say this properly because I'm from Tennessee and we don't use our vowels that much. So I have to think about saying oil because I want to say oil. That's how I would pronounce it. Like if I need to get an oil change in my car or So whenever I pronounce that OI sound, I have to like consciously stop and think about it. Good old oil. Yep. And apparently that is like the ways, like, I guess how you say your vowels is how you can identify any accent, I guess. But like I've had people specifically note the OI sound and the I sound. Apparently the I sound is very distinctive to Tennessee. Like if I say the number 9, that's how I say it, 9. And that like just makes people cackle sometimes. I did have somebody in San Diego this weekend say, "Oh, I hear you have an accent. Where are you from?" Far, far away. You want to hear the song Royal Oil sung in Tennessean? I don't even know that song, do I? Should I know that song? Alabama is, yeah, well, it's similar. Yeah. Though I always find it interesting how distinct the different accents are, state to state and region to region. Oh, the ball. Okay, the Ballstones. Gotcha. Did you know there's a database of rural accents? Like you can add to it. You can record yourself saying, maybe I wonder if they make you say the same thing or if they just have you talk about something. But they have you can go in, and if you say you want to know what the accent of a certain region is like, you can go to this database and listen to the accents. And I hear about it a lot in reference to like actors trying to learn an accent. I'm always very interested in like why we say things the way we do, why we use words, or what. There's a very good podcast and radio show called A Way with Words, and that's basically that's the entirety of their show. Like someone calls in, hey, I've always said this. Why do we say it like this and not like that? And it could be because of the influence of other languages or rules that are no longer applicable. But I'm just going to be here making my oil bottles today. Not as happy with that shape, but it'll work. And give it a squeeze. Boil the cabbage down. That's one of your favorite bluegrass songs. Your Bob, your brother's girlfriend is from Texas, and you only really hear her accent when she's excited about something. Yes, I will also notice it with if you're talking louder than you're used to, or you're really tired. That's when like accents start coming out. And sometimes you pick up on other people's accents. Yes, yes. I do that too. I can be an unconscious mimic. I know, like, so I worked at, I did an internship at Disney World when I was in college. So I was 20 years old. And we were thrown into this, huge group of people, roommates and coworkers, and just the guests who were from all over the world. And I had roommates from Boston, from Brazil, and from New York. And by the end of it, I doubt any of us could, we could have understood each other, going home. Like, for the longest time, like, I could not say the word coffee. I would say coffee because my roommate was from New York. And so, we would. But what's funny is like, just like a semester later, we would try to talk to each other on the phone, and we had gotten our accents back because we'd all gone home, and on the phone we could barely understand one another. Yeah, when you pick up on other people's accents, they think you're mocking them, yes. But I always remember that because it was like it was so funny just how much you pick up on each other, like words each other say, and whether you start talking that way out of like an attempt to like be humorous or whatever, it sticks sometimes. And I remember hearing people say, like a few years ago, and it may still be a thing, like the little kids cartoon Peppa Pig. Like people were saying, like my 3-year-olds are talking with an English accent in Texas. but like the Texas and the Tennessee accent are very similar. Your kids picked up the Aussie accent from watching Bluey, yeah. There we go. Much, much better. Oh, I forgot to give it a hug. There we go. Crimson Sheep? Whoa! Is that 107 months? I thought you just did that. Well, good afternoon. Hamster is back. He got back at around like 10:30 today, so he is back. We dropped off the rental car. But we are both home now. You're ready for July. You're about ready for July to be over. Yeah, well, it's been a long July, hasn't it? Don't tell me that, though. That means we gotta do all this again if it's not even September yet. Yeah, you blink and it's been 2 weeks, yeah. Yeah, Crimson Sheep, thanks for stopping by. And I hope the call goes well. I'm here trying to make some last-minute things for St. James. St. James Infirmary, what? No, the St. James Art Show. I don't know about any infirmaries now. This is the St. James Art Show up in Louisville, Kentucky. I actually got to go see if I have any of the oil bottle pourers, because that's what'll go in here. That's why I have to leave a little bit of a neck there, so that when I put an oil bottle pourer in there, it has something to grip. Yeah, St. James Court Art Show, because it's just this small show in a single courtyard. Yeah, that's how it started 50 years ago, or 60 now. I don't know how many years it's been going on. I forget. It's one of the oldest ones in the country. The started off as just a small little art show. Now it takes up it takes up the courtyard, the street, two other streets. No, three streets on either side. They actually had to stop, put bans on expanding it further, because it was just getting too big. Because it started out as a way for this downtown little community to raise money to fix up the neighborhood, and keep things looking nice. And it went so well that other like the people on the next street over decide to do the same thing. So it's called the 3rd Street Art Show, and you have the 4th Street Art Show, and they're all like organized by different groups, but they're all kind of at the same time. So it really it's this huge, massive event. But people come out and support it. They closed the schools for this art show. It is an event that is embraced by the locals. Merlin, hey! You decided to search for a ceramic stream, and now you're here. Welcome. I'm making bottles today. It'll be in Cincinnati by 2030, yeah. The oil bottle pourers, like the metal spouts. Yes, yes. Spook, hey! Good afternoon. I don't actually know. I think Minnie might be outside. I haven't seen Kiba in a while. He's either outside or he's in the chair next to the kiln. He stayed there like all day yesterday. So Merlin, do I stream often? I haven't been as much recently because we've been so busy, but I should. I try to. And I am multi-streaming, so we're doing Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Kick all at the same time. So welcome everybody from wherever you are watching. But in theory, I try to stream in the afternoons. Just depends on what I've got going on. But we are full-time potters. We have a shop down in Nashville, Tennessee, and we do shows. We just got back from a show in San Diego for TwitchCon, and I'm getting ready for another one. Week after next. The fall is generally our busy season, spring and fall, because that's when a lot of events are in our area, because it gets so hot in the summertime. You don't tend to see a ton of outside art shows. Or you do still see them, they're just like the ones that I would prefer to do are in the fall or the spring. Oh, Lita was asleep in a stack of boots for the longest time yesterday. Oh, like on top of the boots. Let's level that off a little bit. There we go. And then because this is an oil bottle, I'm giving it a bit of a place to grip. But I've got several things I want to do today. I want to do these. I probably will do 10 of these, and then maybe some of the lotion bottles, lotion pump, soap pump bottles. And then I do need to make some mugs. Got to restock some of the pieces we sold at Twitch, and then make some of the custom orders we took there as well. Because we ended up selling out of the mod badge mugs, which like the mod sword you see next to people's names on Twitch. We made mugs with that on it, and we took several orders for like a mod mug with somebody's screen name on the back. That one's quite a bit uneven, isn't it? Let's trim it off. Polar bear, hello. So is this stoneware? Yes, it is. This is a cone 6 stoneware. It's very smooth. It doesn't have any grog in it. But it is a stoneware clay body. It is a Kentucky Mudworks brand. They manufacture their own clay up in Lexington. Here we go. That looks good. So, Polar Bear, do you do pottery as well? Whoop. I didn't mean to do that. But I may have to, I don't think it'll fit now. I think I've got to clean it out. So this is my wheel head. Don't look, it's naked. So it's got bat pins here, bolts going through the entire wheel head. In theory, you should be able to remove them, but mine have. It came with the bat pins in, and I was never able to get them out, so they're just there. But I always use bats anyway. And you can tell by how like the corners of the tile have worn away divots. There we go. You're saving up for a shed so you can make it into a mini pottery studio, but you've been an apprentice for a bit as a work rehabilitation program. Nice. So what type of things do you do there? Is it more like we're as a art therapy? You've heard that before. Once they're in, you don't get them out. Yeah. But yeah, but I don't. Well, besides there being pins there, I've always preferred to throw on a bat. And once I started making this bat system, I've hardly used anything else unless I needed the bigger bats for things like pie plates or dinner plates or such. Merlin, have a good evening. Thank you for stopping by. I'm afraid I didn't leave enough clay at the top of this. We'll see how well this turns into a bottle. Oh, you started out just as helping around the studio, but quickly you started being able to learn things, and they let you do your own projects, hand building, and even wheel throwing eventually. I need to trim that little uneven part off. What I do with my thing. There it is. Probably need to slow this down a little bit too. Because I'm standing, I've got a knob here I have to turn to change the speed versus just being able to control it with my foot. So I've actually got to stop what I'm doing. Okay. I think it'll work. I'll just have to trim some more off. There we go. That's even. And that's also a good width, I think, for the opening. Alright, I'm not going to mess with it anymore. Except to do that. Here we go. It's so satisfying to watch, isn't it? Yeah. No, and it's I have people tell me that all the time, that it's very like relaxing to watch, but it's very relaxing for me to do as well. When I'm throwing, which is what I'm doing now, I usually try to do multiples of things and get into a groove. Like I only need like at most 10 of these, and we are at, that's number 7. So I'm gonna make 3 more of them. But like when I get into a groove of doing, you know, like 75 to 100 mugs, that's when like it really can be relaxing, because you're doing the same thing over and over again, and that's why that's the easiest thing for me to stream, because I'm not really having to think about what I'm doing. And if I'm not streaming, I'm usually listening to an audiobook or something. Yeah, so you always try to find a form of content on YouTube where people throw on the wheel. It is a great way to relax, yes, and learn at the same time. Yeah, we try to be a chill stream to the point that I know like some of the like best worst compliments I've gotten have been people saying, "Oh yeah, I can fall asleep to your stream anytime." But there's enough content out there that purposely tries to get you worked up. I'm okay with being the relaxing stream. I hear Minnie. There we go. And then this little indentation is kind of like a handle or grip. One time I did put little handles on the edges of these to see what it would look like. And I think we eventually sold them. But what's funny is they ended up being like people would buy them as like a specifically as like a syrup pot, I guess is the best way to use it, like for maple syrup or whatever. Because the handle made it look like maybe an old-fashioned jug. All right, let's do 2 more, I think. Oh yeah, Twitch notifications don't work half the time, I know. Are these vases? So these are going to be oil bottles. So there'll be, like a metal oil bottle pourer that I'll put in the top. That's why they have a grip because, like, while I like the smooth shape of the bottle, I'd had a request from people to like add some type of like handle or little indentation so you could hold it easier. But seriously, you could use them for whatever you want. They would make a nice little bud vase. Well, that was an air bubble. All right, what's that look like? I like it. I like it. There we go. Then one more of these, and then I make a couple of the lotion pumps, bottles. And then I'll move on to some mugs. Why is the music not playing? Let's try something else. Trim this even. Okay. Star Shaver, thank you for the follow. Here we go. So we have 10 of these. And one of the good things about these is that I don't have to do anything else to them. They are ready to go. Just got to let them dry. Nope, tile. Now I am going to make basically the exact same shape, just without the neck at the top and with a different texture on it. So more bottles, though these are going to be swirly bottles. It's wanting to be swirly already. Now I've got to remember for this one that it doesn't necessarily need to have that lip on there. Let me get my other rib out. This keeps wanting to collapse on me. So I'm going to slow down a little bit and then do that. This one's being difficult. There we go. Just want to flatten that out. This one doesn't have to be like super precise at all because it's the lotion pump is going to be just like glued on at the top, so it just needs to be fairly level, which that's not level anymore. There we go. And I can sand it down more level later. So I need this to go really slow, and I probably will have to redo it after this anyway. There we go. What do you think? It looks pretty good. And it's gotten a bit bigger up at the top here, so let's make it a bit narrower. Here we go. Come on, stay with me now. Alright. I'm just going to stop right there. I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to sand it down later. There we go. That'll be a good lotion or soap pump, liquid soap pump. That's what I need to see. I always keep saying I need to see about getting the dispensers for foam, because there's a lot of the foaming soaps that are popular now too. So let's try and make another one. Almost didn't leave enough clay there. It's really thin. Come on now. Alright, that'll work. I'm gonna wait till I swirl it before I trim that off, but you gotta, when you do this, like, it's fairly simple, but you've got to control the pressure you put on the swirl, especially when you can't get to the inside of something. I do this with mugs too. And with mugs, you can have one hand on the inside and one on the out supporting it, but when it's like this, you've got the wider the piece is for the top, the clay's thinner, so you can't press as hard, or else you're gonna poke right through it. Alright. That's it. I think it looks pretty good. Mia, you just made a bunch of swirly mugs. It's really hard to make the swirls even, yeah. But the result is so worth it. This is one of the first things that I like sat down and tried to figure out when I was on my own. I'm like, I saw somebody with a swirly like bottle or something, and I'm like, I like that. I want to make one like that. And so I sat down and practiced it until I got it right. You like you push out more in the middle so they look a little funky. Yeah. It's like yeah, it's like easier to do on a mug. And I found that when doing the bottles like this, it helps if the piece is not as stretched out when you make it, because the swirls will make it seem more stretched out. A seashell effect? Gotcha. I think I know what you mean. Get some of this water out of here. Yeah, leaving more clay at the top is always the it's what you're supposed to do, but sometimes it's hard to do. All right. There, that's the way it probably should be done. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to make it swirly a little bit. There we go, I like that. I don't think the top got too badly warped either. Here we go. You're new and self-taught, so you're just trying out anything you can. Yeah, well, that's how you learn. No, leaving the thick lip and throwing and then altering that later, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. I get so in the habit of like, well, like I get in the habit of making the others and making the rim thinner, or when I'm throwing a cylinder and pulling it for mugs, I make it thin because that's what I'm used to doing. So for me, I have to stop and think and like focus on leaving it a little bit thicker, or else I can't make that bottleneck arch. You recently picked up your first fired pieces, but it's funny when you're starting out that you get so much better in the long process, but you're kind of disappointed with the things out of the kiln because your stuff is so much better already. Yeah, but proud because you made something. Yeah, no, sometimes like those like very first pieces you make, like you keep those. Like don't ever get rid of them because you'll be able to look back and see how far you've come. And that's what I tell people too. I'm like, you will learn like so much, and you will like you said, you will grow by leaps and bounds within your first year of learning how to do something. Specifically of throwing on the wheel, and it's all about practice. People ask me all the time, like, how long does it take to learn to do this? And I say, you can, if you take a couple of classes, you can learn the basics. You can learn to make things. It just takes a lot of practice before you can say, I want to make something this size and this shape out of this much clay. Make it, and then repeat it. All right. Swirls. Whoop, that one was a little bit too thin there. Not so much pressure. Let up a little bit there. There we go, I like that better. Let's straighten this out. You started to mark your things with the month and the year, but already the things from the beginning of September to now is so different. Yeah. Art evolution. Reminds you of a beehive, yes. Right, I'm going to attempt one more of these. Been working on throwing cylinders with even walls, and it is hard. Yes, it is, but it makes a difference. That's the first, like, so the first couple of classes I took, that's what they had us do. They're like, first day was just like centering and maybe opening up the pot, and then they had us, make 30 cylinders and keep 10 of them, and then make them into things. Because if you can make a cylinder, you can make anything. And I'll make I should have gone over this. I may make one more, and I'll go over the process that I do. But I've had two different learning experiences. One was when I was in college, and I took a couple semesters of pottery, ceramics on the wheel, and that was like, make 30 pieces and then keep 10 of them. The other teacher I had, after school, I started working with another full-time potter, and he was it turned into being kind of like an informal apprenticeship, because he saw the way I was throwing, and he's like, no, don't do that. Please don't do that. You're wasting so much time. And so I listened to him, and he's like, if you want, I'll show you how I do it, but, basically you've got to listen to me and actually do it. And so I'm like, sure, fine, yeah. And he told me, because he showed me how to do production throwing and how to skip a lot of steps, but he basically had me do cylinders every day, and like make a cylinder, cut it in half, throw it away. Make a cylinder, cut it in half, throw it away. And because we had a pug mill there, and so I just put them back in the pug mill. But and you know what? It changed the way I threw. And one of the things he was showing me was the way that I center and do my first pull, because it's much easier on your wrists. And I don't have carpal tunnel. Because you want to try to keep your wrists as straight as you can while doing, a lot of the movements. Let me trim that off. Yeah, it's fun when you get to cut it open and see the cross section, yeah. You keep like one out of every 15 pieces. It's probably a good habit to get into. Well, and even now, whenever I'm taking orders, I make a couple extra pieces for every order, just because things are going to happen. Okay, let's make it swirly. I like that. Let's make this a bit narrower and even it out. All right. So I'm gonna like move on to making some mugs now, but I'll kind of go through my centering and the first couple pulls. This one will be a little bit different because the base is actually going to be wider than the rim. This is kind of how I do the tankards, and this one is going to specifically be a mana mug. Which we've got them, well, that I just saw them, the mana, health, and stamina were just scrolling through on the slideshow. But to center, you know, just make sure it's nice and pressed down. Whether standing or sitting, make sure you're anchored either on your knees or on the splash pan, so that you are moving the clay, it is not moving you. And what I'm doing first is I'm gonna bring this up into a cone, and I'm using kind of the back sides of my hand here and trying to keep my hands and wrists straight. So I'm pressing in and raising my hands. So I'm kind of using just that section right there, raising this up, and it's very easy to kind of, you know, break it into. And then without moving my hands, keeping this hand anchored here, my right hand on top, this section this section of your thumb on top, again anchored on the splash pan. Just compress straight down. And I like to have my hands touching when I'm using both of them. That kind of keeps things centered too. And then I've still got my arms kind of anchored on the splash pan. You can use your thumb or your index fingers, whichever. I got into the habit of using my index fingers because I can open this up and then go straight into opening the base wider. If you use your thumb, then you have to like switch. And then to do my first pull, instead of like using both hands, I use one hand. Put one finger, middle finger on the underneath here, index finger on the inside. Make sure you got plenty of water. Kind of get under it, and then use your knuckle there. You're gonna push in with your knuckle and lift in and up, and that skips several steps so that you've got this volcano shape. I didn't even look. I was like, I hope we weren't in ads. So, and then from here, you start using both hands. But it's a similar motion. You get underneath the clay. I've got to kind of push underneath there a little bit. And you're going to lose a little bit of clay. You get underneath there, and you're using a lifting motion. You're pushing out a little bit with your middle finger on the inside, and you're getting underneath that clay and you're lifting. It's not necessarily a pinching motion, so it's a stretching and lifting. And with this, I'm still keeping this in a like volcano type shape. It's a good idea to keep the rim smaller than the base, even if you're doing something that's going to be a wider bowl, until you're ready to stretch it out. Kind of keep it a cylinder or stretched, you know, pointed in for just the stability of the piece. Because once you start stretching it out, it wants to be a bowl. It wants to be a flat plate. Centrifugal force wants everything to be a plate. And then, of course, the taller you get, the slower the wheel needs to go. Now, the specific shape I'm making, I need to stretch this out a little bit at the bottom, okay? But I'm still going to get some of that clay and pull it as tall as I can in here. And then I forgot to do this. I need to make this a little bit thicker because that's just the look I'm going for. Want a thicker rim on that one. All right. I need my rib that's not as flexible, more the rigid rubber rib or the wooden rib, whichever you have. And I originally made this shape because I was trying to make like a potion bottle themed mugs. So I've got this one, which is kind of like a beaker shape. And that's it. I'm going to get the water out of the middle. Vibey Joe, thank you for the follow. Really, Polar Bear, so you've had a hard time with centering, but your teacher couldn't explain how she did it. You know what? I know that feeling. If it hadn't been for Twitch, so when we got our building here, I offered to teach classes because I kind of thought, oh, I've got room now. I can do this. It's easy, right? I know how to do it. I can show other people how. But it took me a while to be able to properly explain how to start over, because I'm skipping steps and I'm forgetting I can show someone, but I'm forgetting like how to explain it properly. But that's something that Twitch has really helped me with, because people will ask questions and force me to think about every step of the process as I'm going along. So if you have questions, please ask. Or if I forget to explain something, you're like, why do you do that? I may not even know that I consciously do it. Ooh, that one started to collapse a little bit. I hope it'll make it. Starting to sag to one side a bit. That was that last bottle. Let me get this phone call and get the clay off my hand in time. All right, I'm back. Yeah, it does become muscle memory after a while. Oh, you were her first proper student. Okay. She held classes, but it was the kind where she centered for people and they just made things after. Yes, no. So I understand, because I actually moved into doing more of that, because the first classes I offered were so I had some people interested in doing a 6-week class, and so I would do those and show people how to do, have them do one thing that center the first day and then work up to projects. But I had a lot of people that wanted to come in and do a 3-hour class, do an experience. And so I had to figure out how to offer that and how to do it, and which is where I realized in 3 hours people aren't going to learn anything. You're not going to teach them how to center in that amount of time. So it's more of, here, I'll show you what I do. Here, you try it. I'll help you along the way so you can at least get something out of it, Because my first class, I was trying to show people how to do it properly, and people were getting like very frustrated, and I was getting frustrated, and I had to figure things out really quick. So what I ended up doing when I would do my what I started calling the intro classes was we would do some things on the wheel like that, and they could make a piece. If they didn't like that, they could as part of it, we would do different things. We did some things with coils. We did some things with the slab roller and making things out of slabs. And so people got to experience a couple of different things. And even if they hated the wheel, they could at least go away with something. They could make a small dish or something on the slab roller. Because I realized people wanted the experience, not necessarily to learn the process, The very first big event that I was asked to do was like they wanted to come like do a paint and play day for like a team building type event. And so like I just like, okay, I've got a bunch of like unglazed things here, so I brought out a bunch of soup bowls and mugs and things and let people glaze them. And what I did was I had a bunch of tools because I had been to workshops, so I framed it around a workshop, whereas you show people techniques, like a couple of different techniques, and then give them the tools and let their creativity blossom, and like I scared people to death with that because that's not what they wanted. They wanted step by step, this is what you do to make this pretty picture. They wanted like a paint by number thing, so I had to again figure it out. Like I had like so many people like yeah, I want to do something that looks like that. Can you do it for me? And like that just like made my eye twitch. But I had to understand, I was looking at it from the perspective of an artist who wants to, play around and do their own thing, and instead of somebody who doesn't really want to be there. And I remember like it's interesting to see the like personality types that come in to take a class. And I've been that person at other events, but like people would come in usually with a group, maybe 3 or 4 people, and one person really, really wants to be there, and the others are there for moral support. And so everybody makes something, and one person could stay there all day if I would let them, and just do everything. But the the other people, they make something, and then they're like ready to go. You're having a hard time opening the clay wide enough without making a divot on the outside. Do you mean like on the bottom? Is that what you mean, like making a divot? You want to be the studio mascot? Yes. Well, your name is perfect. Our business, we're playing in the mud here on Twitch. Our last name is Pauly, and so our business is Pauly Studios. So you'd fit right in. And technically, we already have a studio mascot. They're just not present. They're not participating today. We have 2 cats that live with us in the studio, and 90% of the time that someone comes into the studio, it's to pet the cats, like not to see me. Well, like I can't really blame them, because if I see a cat in a building, I'm gonna go in and pet it. But it's like, people go, "Oh, I didn't know this was here. I just saw the cat." But that's all right. So you might not be pushing it down enough when centering. It almost sounds like you're opening the if I'm thinking about it right, it may not. I think you're opening the clay too high. But so this is, I don't trim. Well, I'll say it like this. I don't trim the pieces. So I make the bases of the pots fairly thin, so I don't have to trim. And that's one reason I use these tiles too, because the trade-off for having a thicker pot on the bottom that you have to trim is that it's more stable on the bottom, so you can pick it up off the wheel and move it around without having to move it back. For a thinner piece, you can't do that. You're just going to squish it. So I use these tiles, so I can move things around and have them thin. Let's see, do I have one of the test tiles around here somewhere so I can show you the cross section? I used to. Where'd it go? There's one. It's not the best, but it'll work. So this is a smaller pot. Like, this is like the mugs that are back here. I made a bunch of... Oh, there's a better one. I made a bunch of my smaller mugs. These are my 10-ounce size mugs, and I cut them in half to make my test tile wall. And that's the cross section of them. So I'm throwing them fairly thin, and the base, that's... On the wheel, that's not even a quarter of an inch. A quarter inch at most. So that's the cross section. The dust in the cats, it doesn't seem to, it doesn't seem to bother them. They drink the clay water, and I actually, they will drink the clay water before going to their water bowl. And I asked my vet when I caught them doing it if they were, if I was, poisoning them. And they said, no, clay is something cats, will encounter in the wild, and some indoor cats actually have to be prescribed clay pills to help with their digestion. So it's like them having a Tums or something. But no, I have not seen any ill effects. My cat is 16 years old. So, but I wanted to talk about this, because I'm opening this up right here, you can see, and I'm opening this one up fairly wide. I'm not rolling this lip here on over and causing a little air bubble. You do have to the times that I have a little bit of issues with that is if I'm making something that has a much wider base, like a pie plate or a dinner plate, and you just have to make sure that before you open it up completely, make sure there's no moisture there. And if it's I guess really angled out, you could cause an air bubble, but that's one thing that if there's moisture there, if there's water built up right next to this and you open it up and kind of trap that water there, that's going to be a crack. But I think what you may be doing is because you're opening it up and leaving a thicker base, when you open it up wider than your clay plug you have here, it falls over. Oh, your dog also thinks your clay is the best treat he's ever had. There you go. He just needed a bit of clay to help with his digestion. Now, I think, animals can be like people too. Some people have, dust allergies or are more affected by mildew and mold than others. So each animal's different, but just living in the studio has not adversely affected them. Oh, the cats. Well, my oldest cat I've had in here is 16 years old, so he hasn't had any real ill effects from the clay. They drank the clay water, which is what I was saying, and I called my vet when I first saw them starting to do it, because they'll drink the clay water before just the regular water, and they're like, oh no, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, some indoor cats are prescribed clay pills to help with their digestion, so it's just like them having a Tums. But like, clay is there's no issue with clay, like them ingesting clay if they lick it, whatever. And like I said, my cats have not had any ill effects of living in the studio. But animals are like people. Some are going to be more affected by mold and mildew and dust than others, so. And I can tell if the cats have, like, sniffed the kiln while it's going, because it'll curl their whiskers. Okay, make one more of these. Guitar doll, hello! Yes, center the clay lower, make it, when you push it down, make it a little bit wider, and that's where you would kind of think about what you're making, so you know that you might need to spread it out a little bit more. This one did collapse, didn't it? We do have another ad starting in a little bit, so if you haven't already subbed to the channel, you can sub to the channel to not have to deal with the ads. It supports the studio, and most importantly, it helps keeps the cats in kibble and treats. And they might show their face here a little bit later on as it gets closer to treat time. Because as they remind me all day long, I've got some catching up to do since I was gone last week. The goo treats? You mean like the lickable treats? I have. I've not given them like the ones that come like in a really thin package, but I've seen some before that are just like a little pouch, and I've given them those. They do like them. Yeah, the Go-Gurt ones, yeah. I've not gotten those here, but I have had the lickable treats in the bigger pouches. I actually first found those when giving them to some of my senior cats at home when they were sick, just trying to tempt them to eat anything. And it worked. But that is a slippery slope. That is not something I want to start here, because they're already very bossy and demanding over the regular crunchy treats. What am I gonna do next? So I've got, that's mana. I've got health already. I need, I'm gonna do a couple stamina. How long does the clay typically take to dry? So, in theory, I would, I'm making these now. I could put handles on them tonight. So within 4 to 6 hours of just being out, not with a fan on them or anything, but just being out, I could put handles on them and then let them dry, and I could get them to completely dry out with a fan right now in maybe 12 hours, but usually it just sitting out air drying, it takes 2 to 3 days, especially here and especially in the summer. I'm in southern Kentucky and it's just humid. If there's no air, like if for some reason like there's no fan on, no like air conditioning or air circulation, like it could take it a week to dry out, if that. If it dried out then. So, okay, I'm not making that one. I need this to be thinner, so let's pull this thinner. I may have messed that up. I shouldn't have opened it up so wide. Let's pretend like we're making a bottle again. Oh, in Ireland, so it's humid there too. Yeah, we were in San Diego this past weekend for TwitchCon, and it like felt so good. It was warm, it was comfortable, and you could walk around without sweating. And then I come back here and I'm like, wait, it's okay. It's not gonna rain. I don't think. I think this is just regular humidity again. It's like you get so used to it until you're like in a place that doesn't have it. Now for me, like making a straight cylinder like this is sometimes the hardest thing to do, because you want to like, it wants to open up. You think it's so much easier to make something with a little bit of variation or a little bit of a curve to it. But this is going to be the stamina mug. Yeah, the summer, it was a pain to reclaim because it took so long, yes. I lived in Florida for a little while, and it was even worse there. But we could at least, like, the sun was so hot, we could when we would reclaim something, we'd have a plaster slab, put reclaim on it, a bunch of gooey goop, and just set it out in the sun and let it dry out a little bit. Scorch it. Ireland, Denmark, Sweden, welcome everybody. Oops, that was my elbow, sorry. Lumi Celine, hey, thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. You've come to raid the stash. Well, be careful. Don't get your hands dirty. Watch out for the mud splashes. All right, let's see here. Trying to make this. This is going to be a cylinder mug. It's our stamina mug. It's a shape I make for the stamina mugs. But I have had several people request this because they just like the shape of it. So I could put any of our like graphics and designs on here too. Tracy, thank you for the follow. Lumi Celine, hello, hello. Good afternoon. You're more worried about the keyboard. You've seen my keyboard, haven't you? My keyboard is legendary. Still works. Charlie, say it's so relaxing. Yes, thank you. It is. It's relaxing for me to do as well as to watch. I know because I like watching other people, you know, do different crafts. And for me too, like, it's something that forces you to relax, to kind of let go of things, because it's hard to concentrate and focus on what you're doing and get into a good rhythm if you're like worried about 10 different things. So. Which, you know, sometimes I think that's what, like, draws so many of us to repetitive crafts. It's like, yes, we're doing, like, repetitious, like, productive work, but it helps us focus our mind or helps us focus our thoughts on something besides, you know, negative things. Oh, I'll get the keyboard out. Don't worry. Like I said, it works. Now, let me get the water out of the bottom. You're interested to know if kaolin can be used as a chair squeak resistant, as in, like, well, I mean, it's the opposite of grease, so I don't know. because it's going to be more of an agitator. Do you think if something, you know, is squeaking, you need to grease it? Why are you so wonky? There we go. Colleen, hey, good evening. Just trying to restock up on some last minute things. Woo. let's see. This is going to be a stamina mug, hopefully. So I'll be making a cylinder. There we go. Woodcraft by Owen. Hey, thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. Terry Pratchett's Discworld is on sale on Humble Bundle. I saw that, but I thought it was only ebooks. Is that what it was? Oh, what a surprise. Colleen, did you bring them with you? Hey, Changeling Chain. Welcome, welcome, everybody. And good evening. Happy Wednesday. I am making some mugs. I've actually been making other things. We made some oil bottles and lotion bottles for like a lotion or soap pump. And then I've made some mana mugs. Now this is my last stamina mug. I was going to go on to make some of my regular mug shapes. But I'll show you both of these. Let me see if I can get one of these off of here. So I made, here's one of the oil bottles. And the good thing about these guys is I don't have to do anything to them. They don't get handles or anything. I just let them dry. So this is one of the oil bottles. It'll have the, like a metal bottle pourer in the top. And this one just has a flat top because it'll have like a collar glued onto it so you can like, screw and unscrew the pump on top so you can refill it. So Owen, how are you? What were you working on today? Rings and resin pendants. Oh, ooh. Hey, buddy. See, even Kiba knew that everybody was showing up. It's getting close to treat time. I told you they would show up when it was close to treat time. I'm coming. I'm coming. Kiba can't hear anymore, so he meows like extremely loudly. He was never like a quiet, you know, bashful cat to begin with, but now he just screams because he can't hear it. And so he doesn't know how loud he is. Or maybe he screams and he can hear it a little bit. I don't know. I know I put stuff in your way, didn't I? I blocked your stairs. Come on. Come on. Oh no, you gotta put it up with a mic that keeps breaking on you. Oh no. Here he is. Here's the true star of the show. This is Kiba. He's my studio supervisor. He's the 16-year-old cat I was talking about. There we go. We're gonna cuddle. There's that purr. Yeah. Your camera finally went through a full stream without locking up. Congrats. He's been laying out in the back parking lot all day. Either that or laying in the chair next to the kiln, because I fired the kiln yesterday. Watch the tail. He only has half a tail, but he will dunk it in the water bucket. Changeling Chain, your work is slow at the moment, so you get to watch streams. We gonna go for a spin? Here we go. He's like, if I must. The things I do for pets. The things I do for pets. There we go. Thank you, buddy. The wheel has now been blessed. It's a floof. It's a Kiba. I hear Minnie too. I hear her jingly bell. But she probably won't come join us. It's too close to treat time, so. Oh, it's been raining there, so you caught Bentley laying outside. Oh. He was kind enough to actually lay under the awning after running through the yard. Oh. Yeah, yesterday it rained really good, but it was hard enough that Minnie wasn't even. I was glad she wasn't outside. She probably would have been fine with it. She doesn't mind the rain. Your Solaris turns 11 in a couple weeks. Wow, yeah. And Kiba, we really don't know how old he is. He was a stray. We've had him for 15 years, and so I say he's 16 because he was full grown. So he might be older. Spook, are you why cats paint? I used to have a book that was why paint cats, and it was people who had painted their cats different colors. Like you see people dyeing dog's fur and stuff different colors, or chickens. I will never forget the fiber festival I was at, where a woman came up with a basket with a purple chicken that matched her outfit. She dyed her own yarn, and she dyed her chicken. That was at SAF in North Carolina. Yeah, buddy. I would like to make a few more mugs, buddy. Is it too late now? Come on. See, he refuses to sit there. Move my stuff out of the way. There you go. I made him little steps over here so he could get down. Up and down by himself. I don't know what happened to him over here, but I've got to figure something out. He just refuses to sit over here. I've changed the bed. I've cleaned it. I've got a different bed over here, but he's just afraid of this area now, and I don't know what happened. But I assume him and Minnie had a conversation. Minnie will lay there. She'll snooze all day over there in the cat bed. But Kiba won't anymore. What am I making? This is the wrong amount for a regular mug. I don't think I have a travel mug on order. You're gonna relocate your bed? What happened? Oh. Being sick, I'm like, when you say something like that, I'm like, what fell from the ceiling onto your bed? What bug fell on you that... that's what would terrify me. Real life waifu, hey! You just pulled out your new crazy cat lady mug, yay! Well, I'm making some more. I've got to. I sold all of them at TwitchCon. This one right here might end up being a crazy cat lady mug. We shall see. Now I need to measure this and see if I guessed correctly. I did. Won't do it again. Let me set up my guide. There we go. This is, I set up a guide in OBS to measure the height of the mugs, and that's how I kind of keep them all a similar size. Your mug shelf in the kitchen should be labeled "Play in the Mud Through the Years." Seriously. Because you had at least one mug before you even started watching. They've gotten bigger and then smaller over the years, more when I actually started measuring. Because what I would do is I would make them kind of what I thought was kind of similar. And then as I got better I was making them bigger and bigger and thinner and not realizing it until I just like stopped and measured them again. And that's why one reason I was saying like to someone earlier to like keep your very first pieces, because you won't like you'll forget how far you've come. You won't realize like how far you've come from where you started, because we can all be so so judgmental towards ourselves and think that we're not doing very well, but then when you look at where you started, it puts things into perspective. And, you know, I hope I can look back, you know, in 5 years and say, oh, wow, I can't believe I was making those and that people liked them. I've gotten so much better now. The ones you like best are the ones that have a bigger belly. Today's Wednesday. Wait, didn't so I just had a random thought. Like, Paul Pape Designs was on yesterday, and I think he said that tonight something that he made was going to be on the Tonight Show. So I need to like at least like watch that later on and see what it was. Polar Bear, you've got to go. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Have a good rest of your evening. No, that was something different. The Wolverine plushies was something different that was already happened. He said this was one. He said it was like, I think tonight, because he couldn't talk about it yet because it hadn't been on. Yeah, those. He said he had 7 plushies he had to design and fabricate and deliver in 4 days. Blame it all on Loki. Hey, Loki. Good afternoon. So Loki, you saw a neat art form where it used a spinning disc like this to draw animated motion sketches. Oh, is that where like so you have a wheel? There's a name for that. What is it? What is the name of that? Like you have a wheel and it's all different like still frames of an animation, and you spin it around. One of the first forms of viewing animated pictures. What is their podcast name? Is it Tales from the Front Porch? Is that what it is? I was sitting here trying to think about it. Trying to remember what it was. Tales from the Front Porch. There we go. Yeah, that reminds me of like my helper has been trying to has been going through a lot of her grandfather's like Kodachrome slides and trying to like save some of the pictures and get them made into prints and stuff. And so she has all these slides that she's been going through that she knows nobody's looked at in years, and because her grandfather's like just turned 90, and so she's trying to save some of the pictures and find out, you know, get all the information about them that she can. And so we've been like trying to like see if any library around us would have like a viewer or anything like that. And I found a really cool picture of somebody who'd made a lamp out of old slides like that by just like, you know, tying them together, so you have like this big colorful lampshade made of slides. I thought that was an awesome idea. You have the slide scanner. We do as well. We just couldn't find it. We couldn't find it because we haven't used it in so long, so we've got to look for it again. But I have seen stuff like that. But it made me like think about, like, I don't remember when like this Kodachrome like camera and slides like first came out. I don't know exactly how old they are, but but we were still using and making slides until the early 2000s. Like, I remember like when I was in school, they taught us how to make slides to take pictures of our artwork to present to galleries and to art shows and stuff, because that was still the most convenient method of viewing artwork was slides. And like we were still using it then, because at that point digital photography was not, you know, good enough. I mean, within a few years, like, I've never actually taken, you know, used outside of school, made my own slides, because technology caught up pretty quick, and I've always used digital images to apply to things, or sometimes you would have to print out pictures, physical photographs, and send them in. It was pretty cheap. Well, relatively inexpensive compared to other methods of transferring slides, yeah. Yeah, professors would bring full carousels of slides pre-organized for specific lecture topics, yeah. And because it was a very compact way to present, you know, images. And transparencies in the overhead lamp projector. Yeah. Yeah, I remember using the overhead projectors and stuff for like projecting big images, line drawings on walls to do murals and such. Well, oh yeah, when I was in school, when we had to actually carry around our big pieces of paper and our artwork, having a portfolio or I don't think I've ever had to send originals in except for when I juried into the Kentucky Crafted program because they had you had to send physical pieces. Chaotic Kitten, hello. Actually, I remember a story now talking to like at one of the cons we've been to. Like, I was talking to one of the Magic the Gathering artists who made art for the cards, and she had she had been there. She was an artist from like the 90s. Like she'd been doing it a really long time, and so she was talking about working for Wizards of the Coast when they were a very young company and people like were very suspicious of them. But she's like, she agreed to sell some of her artwork to them because they would provide you with artist proofs of the cards, of the playing cards, and she could have as many of those as she wanted. So she's like, I did this because if everything else fell through, I would at least have those printed small pieces of artwork that I could send to other places to try to, to apply for, send out samples of her artwork to apply for things. So it's just a glimpse into another another thought process, another time and place. Did I see the new Otter cards? So are there Otter cards in Duskmourn? I guess I haven't paid attention to the creature types. Bloomburrow, yes. Bloomburrow, yes. There's actually so Duskmourn. The pre-release was last weekend, and I actually got to play in it. It's the newest set. It's kind of like the opposite to Bloomburrow. It's horror movie themed. So you've got like clowns, and you have like one of the a lot of like scary movie murder weapons. One of the cards was called Jump Scare. So it's like horror movie themed. Yeah, no, I didn't get to do a lot with Bloomburrow, but I have like played a little bit of it on Arena. Yes. I do like the raccoons. And actually one card specifically because what is the name of the card? It's like a common or an uncommon. It's like Teapot Chucker, Teapot Slinger, and it's a raccoon throwing a teapot at somebody. The flavor text on it, which is why I want this card, the flavor text on it says, "It's porcelain, not stoneware, you uncultured swine!" And then he's swinging this, throwing the teapot at him. And so I love that. And so now I want to know who at Magic the Gathering, who at Wizards of the Coast, like, has been taking a pottery class. So I need that to put like in my background over here. Yeah, finish the tutorials on Arena. I think the text, like, it's not like the best card. It was good in draft. What was it? It's like, think when it comes into play, it does instant damage, direct damage to a creature, so it's throwing the teapot at something. And then if you cast, once you spend when you spend 4 mana in a turn, it does damage again to somebody else. So it continues to throw trash at people. Like, I love the flavor text on a lot of them. So where is Magic popular? I'd say it's really widespread. I mean, when you're saying where, like, are you meaning like what age group? It's you can play Magic now. You can play Magic online. Online has been around for about 20 years now, at least, maybe more. Magic the Gathering, like what started in '94, the card game. So you would traditionally play in like local game shops, a game where you would buy the product, sit at tables, and play games, and they would run tournaments. Or even more traditionally, you'd play with friends at a kitchen table or whatever, and just play casually. But there's entire like tournament systems and, you know, huge events now. Apparently you opened your Arena account in 22, so you had unopened packs from every release since then. Yes, and you could probably still find all the codes. Yeah, when with Arena you get what three packs for every set that comes out. Yeah. And now you can play on Arena, which is really like expanded to welcomed a lot of new players, because not everybody has a local game store. Not everybody has the ability, you know, even if you buy packs at Walmart, you may not have anybody to play with, or it's not easy to find people to play with depending on your age or your, you know, where you work or whatever. So we had gotten out of it. We still had our cards and we liked our cards, but we had gotten out of it. I got into Arena so I could just play without having to, you know, invest in the time of going to a shop. And that got me back into it, but I still don't get to play that much. But this, like this past weekend was the 4th show that we'd done this summer that had a gaming element where I could have played. And so it's the only time only show I went to where I actually got to play. And so, Spook, did you say you went to the pre-release? Did you get one of the pre-release kits, like the ones that came in the boxes? Because if you get one of those, it has a code that gives you 6 packs on Arena. And you may already know that, but because I've still got to unpack mine and get mine put in. You did that, yeah. So there's a couple of years ago, so it was actually during the pandemic. So in 2020, the Magic set, the core set that was released was called, it was either called M21 or it was called Core 21, something. It had the number 21 in it because it's always for the next year. And that set, the pre-release weekend was my birthday weekend. And so all the cards, when you have a pre-release event, like some of the promo cards they would give out at an event, have the date on them, printed on them. So it had my birthday on it. And so I wanted those cards, but it was the pre-release that could not be done in person. So those cards are very hard to find. Either because they don't, online when you're looking for them, they don't tell you that it has the date on it. They may just be called a foil version of a certain card. But so I constantly keep an eye out for those, because It's the symbol on it is M21 or Core 21, and they have June 27th, 2020 on them. But so what they did then is they had all these pre-release kits that they would just gave to the stores to sell and just hand out, so people could have something, you know, have the cards and they could have some sort of income. And you could only get them in the stores. So it got people going back into the stores. You got a few mythics at the pre-release. Yeah, I ended up with some good cards. So a commander deck is 100 cards. It's your commander plus 99. And you want an average of like 60-40. So sometimes you can, depending on the color of the deck, you can get away with like 70-30. Especially if it's green and you have a lot of mana fixing or mana search, land searching. So is it worth taking your deck with you to Ireland? You could. Find a game store. So casual play is just, is just casual play. Tournaments sometimes do. So like a typical Friday night tournament, like if you're going to bring your own cards, it might cost $5 because the $5 will go towards prize support. And so that's what you're doing. If you're going to play in a tournament and there's going to be prizes, you're going to have to pay something to get in. But that's usually the cheapest way to do it because, well, relatively cheap because you've got your card, you bring your own cards. Usually $5 if it's, a big prize, there might be more of an entry fee, but the But if you're doing something like a draft, which is what I like to do, or the sealed event like they had for pre-release, a sealed event, so it cost us $30 to do the sealed event, but you get 6 packs. So, which is kind of like, saying the cost of the packs plus maybe a little bit for prize support. Same thing with a draft. It can be, depending on the packs you get, sometimes at the cheapest $15, maybe $20. You paid $35. Well, you might have had more prize support. We did not. I'd say the prize support was like 1 pack per game you won. So. No, that's a very fair price for a pre-release. You need to learn how to play again. The last time you played was in 17, yeah. Well, that's one thing Arena is really good for, is going in and just, like, refreshing yourself on the rules, because they do all the triggers for you. Hey, Dan, good afternoon. Yeah, welcome. I may do one more and then take a break because it is getting close to supper time. Kitten, you're going to be alone, so you need to figure out how to meet new people while you're there. And that is one thing that Magic does. That's actually what we did. Well, so when me and Daniel were like first married, we were living in Florida, and that's one thing that we did. He's like, we started playing this game. He's like, this is a good way we could go like meet people. And so we went to our found a game shop and just sat down and started playing and made friends. And some of those people we still know to this day. Because it is a social activity. Spook, you need to find your local store, yeah. Okay, I've got a few made. I'm gonna find something to eat. Wolfie Bread, your local store is a berry patch in the woods. Oh, Dan, you're excited because you're moving to an open unit tonight after your shift change, but at the same time you're scared because you're starting from scratch with building trust and relationships with a whole new set of staff. Oh, so like are you having like your own so this is at work then. I thought maybe you said you were like moving when you said unit, I thought maybe you were like moving your home. Let's see here. So gonna see who else was on. So Kayla's on. So we'll go see what they're working on today. So guys, thanks for watching. I've enjoyed the chat today. Thanks for hanging out with me while I got a little bit of work done. Maybe I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if tomorrow I'm going to be working on glazing or if I'll have more, be doing some more throwing, but probably glazing. Where's the supervisor? I saw him walk up to the front just a minute ago, so he's, I'm almost guaranteeing he's waiting next. He's going to be waiting next to the treat spot. And so, so he's, yeah, he's focused. Spook, you're going to go sleep for a bit. Yeah, well, I hope you feel better soon if you said you had been having a bunch of sinus problems. Oh, no, oh gosh. I just look down and there he is staring at me. Hey, buddy. You know we're talking about you. Yeah, that face right there, that face is what I turned around and looked to see when I thought he was in the front of the studio. So I'm going to go feed the kitties. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.